All right, so it is Aries season, and it's been a while since I've done a video. I thought I'd just visuals. God damn, here comes my cat. All right, so we are going to talk about a few things with this um transit. It's definitely a very unique and rare one at that. And of course, Aries season jump starts actually the new actual true New Year's. So happy New Year's, everybody! And if you don't know, Aries is the first zodiac sign. It rules ahead. It is the I am. Fire sign, cardinal, action orientated, ruled by Mars, and back years ago, used by Mars and Pluto. So first flame, the first spark, So the fire signs, Aries is that spark, like we light a lighter, and Leo would be like sustained oven, sustained heat, like a campfire or oven, and then Sagittarius would be that fire that spreads like a grass fire. So fire signs, that's the soul. So Aries, the spark of the soul. Um, so let's see here. We're going to talk about a little bit, with the Aries season, but we have Mars going into Aries April 15th, and what's significant about that is thank God it's not retrograding anymore, but is going to conjunct Mars, and then it's going to conjunct Saturn and Neptune before the new moon in Aries on I believe it is, the 17th. So I've got, like I say, got visuals for you guys here. Now, I should do this on different thing, but anyways, here we go. So, the movement of the planets. So, Mercury is a very fast-moving planet. It's the one that gets all the information from the sun that feeds out to the rest of the planets. So, this shows you here approximately about how long it takes. It takes the sun. The sun stays in a sign for a month. The moon goes through a sign every 2.5 days. Mercury, depending on if it's retrograde, about 15 to 60 days. Venus about a month. Mars about a month and a half. Jupiter 12 to 13 months, depending on what the retrogrades. Saturn stays in a sign for about 2.5 years. Uranus takes 7 years as a generational planet. Neptune 14. Thank God for that. Neptune Pisces. And Pluto takes the longest, 12 to 31 years. And Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus actually they retrograde a lot throughout the year. They actually spend more time in retrograde than they do direct. And I'm not going to get into the other ones. Find those videos. My daughter called, who happens to be an Aries moon. Okay, so where were we? So we've let's see, and I've got a bunch of notes here, so you got to bear with me for just a moment. And okay, so it's 13th. Okay, so yeah, so Mercury is already there. So I got paper notes and I got some of them. So all right, so through May 2nd, Mercury will be in Aries. Now, let's see a little visuals here. And on the 17th, it will be conjunct with Mars, and that's going to be very intense for everybody, the collective. Now, in your chart, look to see where you have Aries at. If you are wanting some more in depth and some details about this transit and about how it is for you on a personal level to your natal chart, reach out to me. I am doing a special here for the season, and we can I can either send you a video or we can do we can do a call or consult. So, anyways, now, oh, apologize about that. Let me go ahead and put my D&D on here, so for distractions. Apologize. So the 18th here. Now this is gonna be all through. I'm just gonna be talking strictly with with the Aries season. So then we're gonna have this crazy wicked stellium. And the stellium is when you have 3 more planets in the same sign or the same house in chart. So we're gonna have Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and a conjunction on the 18th. That's going to be intense. And actually, that conjunction you're going to be able to see in the eastern horizon right before sunrise. If you go out and look, you'll be able to see the alignment there, especially if you guys have a telescope. Now, we have the new moon is 17th. Yeah, that's right. Now, this conjunction is going to be happening at 7 degrees. And in degree theory, 7 degrees, that's a Libra degree, which happens to be the Aries opposition. The 7th house, relationships, partners, marriage, contracts, all forms of relationships, from love business, friends, all of that. Seventh house is everybody else. You are your first house. Seventh house is everybody else in the world. Um, Now with Mercury, now this Mercury transit, just like the moon, whatever the moon's transiting through, it always affects Cancer. Now with Mercury, it goes same with Gemini and Virgos, which Gemini is the Yang, the masculine part of the side of it, and Virgo is the Yin, the feminine part of it. And now Gemini is an air sign. Virgo is an earth sign, but Virgo is very much a very communicative. It's kind of like it's like an air sign disguised as an earth sign. And then Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. And of course, Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. And then Neptune is the second ruler for Pisces. Now, let's see here. And then now when we have the new moon, this right here, I'll get into this after a bit. This is where the other planets are going to be transiting and hanging out at during this new moon, which this new moon's going to be epic. And, oh yeah, but we're talking about the planets. I also had made this over here just to kind of show you what kind of like what it, well, kind of look like, but yes and no, just kind of, everything just all smushed there together, and Aries, and then we've got Venus is in Taurus, which Venus rules Taurus. We've got Uranus right now is 29 degrees, Taurus moving its way back into Gemini. We've got Jupiter in Cancer, and we've got Pluto and Aquarius. And let's go back over here to the planets here where we had left off at. And here you can see, so that's what we got going on. And now let me see here, where can I put this here? And this is what we're going to be talking about today with this, now the significance of this, this transit. And let me get to the notes here. All right, so just look at this while I go over this. All right, so this Mercury going into Aries, it's about taking action. It's going to be here for about 3 weeks. Well, with the conjunction, 3 weeks. Because of course, then we're going to go into Taurus season. Now, it's about taking action and what we are setting in motion. Now, people that have Sun Moon or risings in Aries, pay attention. Now, or people that have Mercury that rules your chart. Now, if you have a Virgo rising or Gemini rising, Mercury rules your chart. Or if Mercury is your highest degree planet in your chart, that can also, it's a chart ruler. Now, fire signs will do well with this transit, because it's going to be making some nice aspects. And Gemini and Aquarius will do pretty well with this. Sun sign wise, even rising, and there'll be positive aspects, because the fire signs and the air signs are in good aspects for each other. They're either with the fire sign and the air signs, either sextile or trine from each other. Now, Aries is making a sextile to Aquarius, and Aries is making a sextile to Gemini. It's making a trine to Sagittarius, and then making a trine to Leo. And of course, Aries is in opposition to Libra, and let's see here. And it's good. Aries is this transit here. Anything in Aries is going to be making a square to Cancer and Capricorn. And God, I got such bad hand, like a doctor having a stroke. Now, Mercury, rules over communication and learning. It's about communication and learning. Anything that's in like in a 10 degree orb, I'm saying anything within like a 5 to 7 degree orb, like in your chart. So this stellium here with all the planets with Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune's going to be happening at 7 degrees. So I say a thing within, like I said, like a 5 to 7 degree orb. So if you have a planet at like 6 degrees, 7 degrees, it's going to be conjunct there. It's going to definitely affect you. Now, let's say you don't have any planets in your chart in Aries, but you do have some planets at 7 degrees that you will feel the energies of it as well. And then during the new moon, the moon and the sun are going to be at 27 degrees, which is a Gemini degree. And it's going to be conjunct to Chiron. That's going to be at, I believe, 26 or 28 degrees. I'll double check on that. Now, Mercury rules over your siblings. Mars is about usually associates with men. Saturn is authority figures, or like a parent. And Neptune is illusions, art, and anything that takes you out of the awareness of now, like psychedelics, drugs, music, sex, like anything that takes you out of the awareness of, like TV. TVs are Neptunian. Sleeping, dreaming, not being in this reality, like looking like being, high drunk, or because remember, Neptune rules Pisces, and Pisces, the two fish swim in opposite directions. It's not, it's also the spirit realm. It's not in the physical realm of things. I'm gonna go a little bit more over the planets and what they govern or rule over as well. Now, now Mercury, is rules over your intellect and communication, all forms of communication, writing, typing, sign language, listening, any forms of any and all forms of types of communication, and how we speak with each other. Also, how we think and how we speak and how we learn. Logic, and let's see here, and with Mercury and Gemini, it's about curiosity and variety, and with Mercury and Virgo, which is exalted there, it's about analyzing and perception, and of course, it governs travel and technology, social media, devices, commerce. It's also it's like so social media. So Mercury is also on social media, where like Aquarius would be like the Wi-Fi, and then Libra would be their sign that kind of grounds all bounces out together. Um, Mercury's also short distance travel. It's your siblings, your cousins, um, your hobbies, interests as well. And when it's retrograde, it will cause delays and disruptions to things like technology, social media, commerce, traveling, stuff like that. One thing about this transit too, with Mercury going into Aries, with it being having the conjunction with Saturn and Mars, especially with Mars, there's going to be issues with with devices. Batteries are going to burn out. So backup batteries for like your watch, especially with like your watch or devices and stuff like that. Like my phone battery's been getting hot the last couple of days. Um, let's see here. Now, for those who don't know, Mercury in charts and sign like will always be in opposition to Jupiter. So Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, is in opposition of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Mercury rules Virgo, which is in opposition to Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And just like with Mars, Mars is always in opposition and charts from Venus. Mars, let's see, so Mars in Aries is in opposition to Libra, which is ruled by Venus, and Mars rules Scorpio, which is in opposition of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. And so when it comes to Mars, Mars rules Aries and Scorpio, and Aries would be the masculine yang side of it, and then Scorpio would be the yin feminine part side of it. So, or so each planet has a yin and a yang part to it. Oh, actually, maybe some of my handwriting. Now, again, so Mercury, rules of transportation, gadgets. Talked about that. Communication. I have to go through some of this. Now let's get into some more juicy stuff there. All right, so let's see, where should it begin? Maybe from the start, right? All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Let's talk about this new moon in Aries, which is very significant. It marks a powerful, fiery reset. It's a reset, especially for this astrological year. It can happen in years. Happening at 27 degrees and 28 seconds. Aries acts like an ignition, like starting a car. Encourage you to step into your power and initiate new life journeys, and with your new life journeys, everything to be more bold and with your intentions and for the future. Now, one thing that you have to worry about here with Mercury, because it rules over communication, and it's going to be conjunct to Mars, which Mars is very aggressive, very active, very warrior-like. Communication is going to be very, very either going to be harsh, fast, or it's going to be very so for some people it's gonna be vulgar. Sometimes it could be people can be very impatient. There could be some arguments. People that usually aren't too chitty chatty could be a little bit more chitty chatty. There could be so a lot of people getting cussed out. There could be some road rage because remember Mercury rules over travel, and Mars actually has a link in with as well as like cars, and then we've got Jupiter and Cancer, which is going to be maximizing everything because it's going to be making a square. So be careful when driving and everything because Jupiter again maximizes everything, and Cancer actually rules over cars because Cancer rules over things of comfort. So Mercury's travel, Cancer rules over cars, and with Mars there, just kind of ties it in all together. So it's probably going to be some road rage, people getting cussed out. Careful with the accidents, and the accidents are going to happen from temper or not paying attention or running your mouth. People are going to be a little bit more Oh, a little bit more to speak their mind, a little bit more assertive vocally. Again, arguments can flare up, so be careful about your anger, because Saturn will come in there and speak that out, so some karma. So yeah, so be careful of your speech. There can be a lot of misunderstandings because of the harshness with the Mars, up on Mercury, kind of getting into its communication style and kind of making it a little bit more vulgar and rough around the edges than what it usually likes. Because in Gemini, it's whimsical, it's fun, it's learning, and in Virgo, it's very serious and to the point, and very dark and practical and everything. So um, some key themes here. So this new moon, because it's the first new moon of the year, and of course Aries, jump starts off everything. And new moons is because the new moon is like it's an empty moon getting ready to make its transit to fill up, and then when it gets full, that's when it's full and has everything. It's collected all the energies. Well, this is all. It's like an empty cup. It's an empty moon getting ready to make its way through, and then at the halfway point will be, or it would be when we have in Libra season when we have the new moon in Libra. Um, so again, this is the new astrological year. Now, let's see here in my notes. Sorry, I went through my there. So again, for starts, and what's really good about this here with this new moon and thing, it's going to be conjunct to Chiron. I'm going to get to that a little bit here, but healing through action. Focus on action-oriented energy. Encourages you through healing through your actions. Actually, physically doing something because again, it's Aries season, Mars, propelling you forward. To turn your dreams into reality, especially with that Neptune conjunction coming in. Embodiment of power. This 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 lunar transit invites you to act from a place of initiating a new chapter of self and acceptance. Um, so yeah, so you definitely want to definitely want to do that. Now, oh, let's see here. Um, Now the embodiment of power, which we had talked about that. So it's a place of I'm sorry, here, let me it's a place of deep self-awareness and with a combination of passion with intentionality, especially with that Saturn. So deep awareness of self, and because remember, Aries, rules self. It's the head. So I am that's where the third eye is. Setting intentions. The new moon is ideal time to reflect on your desires, and also it's like it's a high vibing time to manifest your goals and to set goals. Um, let's see here, and oh, I lost my place here. Sorry about that. Um, all right, there we go. And so it's a high vibe moment to for manifestation and manifesting. Now what to expect? Take decisive actions. Be very conscious of it, very and the awareness of it. And it's time for making big moves. Because that's what Aries is about. Aries is on the go go go. But make sure you want to do it with intentions. You don't want to go in too hot and heavy. Because it's fire season. Initiating projects. Things like that requires like boldness and courage. You want to be, definitely want to do that. Let go of the past. This is an opportunity to release any old victim scripts or any extra like baggage that might be holding you back. Which you should have started releasing all that when we were going through Pisces season. Anything that's holding you back, just get rid of it. Let it go. Embrace your individuality. Very much embrace your individuality. Um, Aries energy empowers you to prioritize your own needs and pursue your personal goals. With the moon in Pisces earlier in the week, transiting into Aries, the week promises of a shift from deep emotional to empowered action. You guys, okay? And get a new chapter, new start, new year, everything. Let's see here now. Now with this new moon, it is going to be conjunct to Chiron. Um, Chiron's going to be at 27 degrees. Is that right? Yeah. So the Chiron is the wounded healer, heal thyself. This is along with of course with the sun. It's going to amplify it. So conjunctions on the 16th. Signals a potent period for healing and addressing deep insecurities and initiating in this new chapter. The key details of this is like you want to really heal wounds, heal things things that are like unsettled with himself, and because it makes it easier to tap into that boldness of self and your individuality, and to have that more dynamic self of just that flow within. You want to definitely be flowing within yourself. Um, Now, the sun and the moon are, being conjunct to Chiron, is highlighting themes of vulnerability, authenticity, which is the most highest vibration, and overcoming self doubts. Now, the significance of this is the alignment is often described as very rare. Okay, it's very rare. It's a very rare alignment. Um, this alignment often describes as a rare healing window. So remember, it's a healing window. It encourages actions on wounds related to your identity and your self-assertion. Okay, because remember, there's a self. Um, the aspects with this with the lunar and everything is surrounded by intense energies because we're all that going on in Saturn, Neptune, Mars, Mercury, all that in the Aries is it's heavy and locked and loaded. Um, Now it's surrounded by intense energies, including Mars Saturn conjunction. Has squares to Pluto and Aquarius, and also rally checks and competent checks, and of course through the healing process of things. Now we're going to talk a little bit here about Mercury. Then we'll talk about the planets and the significance of them. I'm just going to click around so just stay on the screen here. Oh, I want to see all that. You want to see my little designs? So we're going to talk a little bit about Mercury here. So Mercury, communication, expression, speech, writing, and listening and sharing ideas. The mental process of things, logic, and reasoning, memory, and analytical thinking. It's always good to know what the planets are. The deep connection planets, because then that way once you have a deeper understanding, then you have a deeper awareness of self and the energies around. Now, Mercury goes over transactions and information. It's like again, social media, the news, buying and selling, data, movement, transportation, short distance travel, commuting. Now, the sign that Mercury usually rules is like third and sixth house, which aligns to Gemini and Virgo. Um, the physiology of it is like the nervous system, the brain with the brain, and also Mercury rules over the hands and arms. So be careful during this time too, during with this Mars energy. So if there's accidents or stuff going on, like where you get hurt or say you do something or not paying attention, not being cautious, there could be something where with your hands and your arms. Now, when Mercury's retrograde, it goes anywhere from 3 to 4 times a year, which sucks. Unless you have Mercury already retrograding in your natal chart, then the energy seems to be like a different shift for you. Now, whenever we are going through Mercury retrograde, it's a time of not doing anything new. It's a time of reanalyzing, renewing, reevaluating, rearranging, especially rearrange something physically within your house. It helps the energies. Redoing, rewriting, reassessing. The re. It's notoriously associated with mishaps, like technical issues, travel, delays, misunderstandings. It's also a time for reflection. Um, Now, Mars in astrology is a planet of action and desire, aggression. It's referred to as the warrior planet, and it governs how you pursue your goals. It's very action orientated. It's the wands like in tarot, and how you pursue your goals. So your sex drive, your competitiveness, how you handle your anger. And if you have Mars in the first house, you need to be hot headed, and if you have Mars in the fifth house, you can be very competitive, very sexual. If you have Mars in the fourth house, it can kind of water it down, and might have some issues with like learning how to assert and handle your anger correctly, and you might internalize it too much. Mars is great in the 10th house. I think it does great in the 11th house too. Mom and the 12th house, it could be you gotta be careful with the 12th house because that's jails, prison, asylums, different separate, but it could be really good for like learning taekwondo or karate or some type of martial arts, and also really good for do things behind the scenes, actually rotate behind the scenes. So anyway, so Mars, it rules again like Aries and Scorpio. So Aries is your masculine, Scorpio the feminine. The key actions about it is like it's an action drive. It dictates your motivation, determines determination, and how you assert yourself in life. Your passions and sex. It governs your raw sexual energy and your desires and your vitality, and also your stamina. Conflict and temperament. Sorry about that. My headphones here. Mars governs anger, aggression, survival instincts, and how you handle fighting and confrontations. All right, and physically represents your physical strength and stamina. I talked about what it rules over. It's exalted in Capricorn at its maximum strength. It's debilitated in Cancer, which is weak of expression. Usually associates with the first house and as well as the eighth. And Mars' birth chart reveals how you fight for what you want, your speed of action, and how you handle rage. The strong Mars indicates courage and leadership. Oh, you can also tell, like, and look into sexual astrology. Actually, I won't say that because I might not be good for the video. I'll keep it PG rated. Sorry about that, guys. The strong Mars can indicate courage, leadership, high energy, while challenging placements might indicate impulsiveness. I have Mars in Virgo, which is in square to my Neptune, which is my OCDness, and my Mars in Virgo is about it's very much perfectionist.
So for the
Um,
last part of this video, I'm going to share a little bit more details and get a little bit more in depth about the four planet conjunction in Aries, with Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and Mercury, and share a little bit more details and where in your chart that it could be where you could be experiencing the intensities of it, and where it could be very life changing. And for somebody who is an advocate for self-expression, which that is actually more Leo, but Aries is the I am. It's the one that's the first, deeply connected into the prime source of life. It's Aries starts the zodiac. So that's part of the, with the whole cosmic reset. And and so Aries also, with it being the spark of the soul and into the life consciousness. And many of us are on a we're revolutionarying out the spiritual evolution of life, for extension. So this is a very much an essential area of life that's very significant for all of us as a collective. So so I'm not sure if I'm gonna put the videos together or if I'm gonna separate them out as a part one, part two. But yeah, so the second half of this. Oh, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about Dark Moon Lilith being in Sagittarius a little bit, and but definitely give it, get a little bit more in depth of the significance of this transit.